decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Please remain standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Elliott. Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Councilor Leahy. Councilor Leary.
Here.
Councilor Mercia.
Here.
Councilor Milonazo.
Here.
Councilor Rourke.
Here.
Councilor Samaras.
Here.
Councilor Belanger.
Here.
7 present.
Thank you. Councilor Belanger.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to request a darkened chambers for a Mrs. Mary Ann Petrakis, beloved sister, niece, cousin, and friend at age 55. Mary Ann Petrakis, a lifelong resident of Lowell, died peacefully surrounded by loving family and friends Tuesday evening at Lowell General Hospital. Born in Lowell, Massachusetts, October 10th, 1960, the beloved daughter of the late Charles, and I have to stop right there for a second. Her father, Charles Petrakis, was a World War II veteran who served in Pearl Harbor and actually shot down. There was 14 planes in total shot down in Pearl Harbor. Charles Petrakis shot down 3 of them. So just think of that, 3 planes shot down in Pearl Harbor by a Greek immigrant from Lowell. So that's just shows you the fighting spirit that's in this family. Prior to her retirement, Mary Ann worked for American Training, Inc. and Goodwill Industries. Mary Ann was a special person whose love for others knew no bounds. She gave a pure and unconditional love to everyone she met, and her impact on those she knew her best will last forever. She will be deeply missed. Among her family interests was her love of music, dancing, the movies, and a good hamburger and Coca-Cola. Mary Ann is survived by her 2 brothers, whom felt blessed to have had her as their sister, their inspiration and friend. Nico Petrakis, and Peter Petrakis are also downtown businessmen right here in the city, and they gave her sister unconditional love and treatment and treated her lifelong illness. Never for one night was Mary Ann surrounded by doctors and nurses that she didn't know. They took great care of her at home where she grew up and was born until her very passing. So I am extremely proud of Peter and Nicholas and the care they took of their sister. She eventually succumbed to a lifelong illness, but it was not from a lack of compassion and love that she received from her 2 brothers. So Nicholas and Peter, if you're listening, I'm extremely proud that you are my friend, and Mary Ann will be sadly missed. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in darkened chamber to Richard Dickey Cohen, beloved husband for 51 years to Charlene. He graduated from Lowell High School, class of 1960. He served in the United States Army during the Vietnam War. Dickey attended Newbury College and the University of Mass Lowell. He was employed for 26 years at the City of Lowell Water Department, where he started as a meter reader and worked his way to superintendent of water. Following his retirement, he worked as the project manager for USI Services. Dick's proudest position he ever held was working for the Lowell National Historic Park as the grounds and canals supervisor. He started in 1993 and retired this past January. Dick was a member of the New England and Massachusetts Waterworks Association. Dick was a founding member as well as a member of the Board of Trustees for the Lowell Festival Foundation. There was never a time that I can ever remember not seeing Dickey Cohen volunteering for 3 days at the Lowell Folk Festival every single year. He was always there pitching in with so much pride. Along with his wife, Charlene, he leaves behind 3 children, Shannon, a member of the city's wastewater utility, Sandra, and Sean Michael Cohen, and 8 grandchildren. We offer our sympathy to his family, relatives, and many, many friends. Dick will be truly missed. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence and darkened chambers for Calvin Riley, formerly of Lowell. Cal was shot and killed Saturday night at a San Francisco park at the age of 20. Cal was the son of Sean and Carrie Ann Riley, both Lowell High School graduates. Cal was a rising college baseball star for the San Joaquin Delta baseball team in California. Cal grew up in Lowell, playing baseball and basketball for the Highlands, Callery Park League, where he was a member of 3 straight championship teams, and Legion for the city of Lowell. Calvin's drive and toughness resembled that of his parents and 2 younger sisters. Tomorrow night, Mr. Mayor, there'll be a night of remembrance for Calvin. They'll be held at Callery Park at 7:30 p.m. In the Highlands neighborhood. Everybody and anyone is welcome to come down and participate. The city of Lowell sends its deepest sympathies and condolences to the Riley family at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Before we start the meeting, I just would like to take a couple of minutes to give citations to 2 Lowell lifeguards, Brianna Sanchez and Crystal Gomez, who saved the life of a six-year-old boy back towards the end of July. And if I could just take a minute before they come up, just to read the account. On the morning of July 26, 2016, the Greenhouse School Summer School program was using the pool at McPherson Park during their private rental time. At approximately 9:45 a.m., lifeguard Brianna Sanchez, who was on duty at the shallow end of the pool, noticed 2 boys playing a game where they were taking rapid breaths, then submerging underwater. One of the boys experienced shallow water blackout, which is caused by hyperventilating just before you go underwater for an extended period of time. Brianna recognized the emergency when Benjamin did not surface with the other boys, as they had been doing previously. Brianna activated the pool emergency action plan, which alerted the other guards. Brianna entered the water and lifted Benjamin out of the water and set him on the pool deck. At this time, lifeguard manager Crystal Gomez was in a position to begin conducting a primary assessment. She identified the victim, which still had a pulse but was not breathing. Crystal began giving rescue ventilations to Benjamin as per her training protocol. After giving him 3 cycles of ventilation, Benjamin began to show signs of life by moaning. Crystal and Brianna placed Benjamin onto his side into the recovery position. Advanced medical personnel arrived and took over the situation. They placed Benjamin onto a stretcher and indicated they were taking him to the hospital, but the lifeguards had regained all the vitals and recovered Benjamin to stable condition at the time of their arrival. I have 2 citations, one for Brianna and one for Crystal, if you would come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, also, these are from the City Manager Kevin Murphy, who wishes to thank both of you for your heroic actions on that day. So congratulations.
Next order of business are the minutes for approval. We have the minutes of the Downtown Redevelopment Subcommittee of July 26th in the City Council meeting of July 26 for acceptance. Chair will entertain a motion to accept and place on file by Council. We have a motion to that effect by Council Milonazo, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under the city order, we have a communication regarding the FY 2016 budget report year to date. Do we have a motion to accept that report and place it on file? We have a motion by Council Rourke to accept and place on file, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion. Council Milonazo.
I apologize, and I know I should know the answer to this question, but, okay, it's as of June 30th, so it's the FY16. Excuse me, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Being before 7 o'clock, we'll skip over the public hearings and go to communications from the city manager. We have items A through F this evening. The first one is homeless camps. Any discussion on homeless camps? Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. Mr. Manager, I read the response from you regarding the cleanup of various homeless camps of trash and needles. And in the report, it stated that the cleanup is expensive and how you receive quotes from an environmental company, probably Mill City Environmental, and that the cost would run anywhere from $8,000 to $19,000 a pop, depending on the size of the site. So yes, you are right, it is very costly. Would we have to put this out to bid every time we need a cleanup?
No, we're doing an RFP for a blanket contract to do this, but we're also looking to see if we can train and equip our Department of Public Works employees to perform these services. I've been contacted by the union rep of the union, and I met with Tom Belgard and several other people today because, first of all, I think every employee should have baseline training and equipment when they come upon needles in any of the public parks or anywhere else. So we're looking into setting up a protocol for that. And then we're going to look to see if it's going to be more cost effective for maybe have our own special hazmat team in the DPW to clean up. I mean, I visited a couple of these camps today, and it's just incredible. But I wouldn't want, one of our members of the Department of Public Works to go into one of the needle places I saw today without specialized training. And so we're looking into that right now to see if we can save money and utilize our own employees.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because depending on the frequency of the calls for cleanup to the various sites, and let's say there are 20 sites at an average of between 8 and 19,000, so I'm going to say, let's say $12,000, and it would be 20 sites at $12,000 a shot. That would cost anywhere from $240,000, and that would be a one-time buy or a visit of 20 different sites during the whole year. So my suggestion is as follows, and it's just an opinion. What if we allowed the DPW labor force, which you just talked about, to take this task over, as they have done already for the past 10 years anyway? So let's figure out the math here. Let's say that we give $2,000 to the base pay of 40 on-site union DPW laborers, and we perhaps give them special training, and we provide sharp containers and a pair of puncture-resistant gloves to each one. That would cost $80,000 as compared to going out to bid and paying an average of $12,000 a pop. That would cost anywhere from $12,000 at one time to $288,000, and the cost remains the same year after year if we just had our own in-house training. And I'm no math wizard, but I just saved the city $200,000. No bidding, and we can have the cleanup anytime it's needed. But the city of Boston just initiated this program in-house, and just as I stated, and they don't, and I don't know why that it isn't here, but it makes perfect sense to me. I know I'm not a union negotiator, but I am merely offering a suggestion to offer what I feel is in the best interest to everyone involved. That's just a matter of an opinion. Thank you.
Council Leary.
No, I tend to agree with Councilor Mercier. I know you and I had a conversation earlier today, so I'm very happy that you're taking the lead on bringing that in, because I think it is something that, even if we decide to continue doing outside contractors to clean up these areas that are really, quite frankly, overwhelming, you're still going to have folks that need to be trained in case they see a Sharpie, in particular anywhere, including, I would also include the Parks Department, because these are folks you watch picking up trash, different parks, just in case something happens. But I am happy. I was going to have a motion regarding what Councilor Mercer actually was talking about, but after our conversation with you going in this direction already, I think that's the way to go. I think it's something we look into from not only cost, but also, frankly, even if we do keep the way we're going in terms of RFPing to outside consultants, we need to train our people because they are going to run into this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on item A? If not, we'll move on to item B, which is repainting the crosswalk at Lowell Merrimack Street. Any discussion on item B? Hearing none, we'll move on to item C, which is Sheehy Park. Any discussion on Sheehy Park? Council Leary.
Just quickly, thank you very much for the quick report. Are we going to be able to pave that parking lot at all? I think that's kind of the part of the issue. Is that something that you're looking into in the future, or?
Yes, we're already doing the design of it. I'm not an expert on it, but it's an impervious pavement that we'll be doing. It allows the water to go through to it this way that we can stripe them and put up parking spots for in the area. So yes, we're going to be able to pave it with that type of pavement.
And I guess, per your report, basically, we're going to put kiosks up there because it's still being utilized during the business hours, but you're going to leave 8 spots open for recreational use. That's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? If not, we'll move on to health insurance transition. Council Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the city manager. Mr. Manager, thank you for the report. It actually reminded me exactly as to what happened back a few years ago. So again, it's kind of a win-win. We saved $12.5 million over the last few fiscal years, and then we had set up this employee health care mitigation fund, and we have got a balance of about $2.5 million there to help individuals and families with costs above a certain threshold, as is evidenced in your report. And also shows that some of the actual premiums that employees have been paying actually have gone down over the past few years as well. Yes, some of the co-payments have gone up, but in actuality, $15 to $30. Yes, it's a 100% jump, but at the end of the day, our premiums have actually gone down. So, again, I appreciate the report, and I do think it's a win-win for all.
Mr. Manager.
No, I have to thank you for bringing the motion because, quite honestly, this city council contributes $250,000 each year to this fund. And as you said, there's $2.5 million in this mitigation fund. So if somebody has high co-pays above $900 as an individual, $1,800 as a family, they get that reimbursed through this mitigation fund. But what we saw, not what I saw, but what Connor Baldwin saw in preparing this report, is that there's a lot of retirees and employees that aren't taking advantage of this mitigation fund. So I thank you for bringing this so that we can publicize the fact to the retirees and the employees that there is help there if they have these high costs for health care. Thank you.
Any further discussion on this item? If not, we'll move on to the status of the cogeneration plant. Any discussion? Councilor Elliott?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the report, Mr. Manager. So I guess the good news is that this Lowell cogeneration plant, they paid all their back taxes, and the total payment was $474,601. I guess the concern is that it's been sold. It was valued, it was assessed, the assessed value is 1.6, it's sold for $250,000. So do we have any idea what the future use of that may be? And I mean, that's a significant amount of property taxes that presumably we could be losing, or do we continue to assess it at a higher level?
I know that's an excellent question. The good news is Connor Baldwin had a smile on his face. We got $474,000. But I wouldn't take a lot of stock in the in the sales price, because
Okay.
you can put whatever you want down there as the sales price. It's what the use of the property is and what the highest and best use of it and the value of it. I've already talked to the Chief Assessor, Sue LeMay. She's already talked to the purchaser. She wants to get in, talk to them about what their use is going to be, what the building is going to be used for, and then we'll be able to make an assessment. So even though you see that $250,000 sales price, that doesn't mean it's an arm's length transaction or that's the true value of the property.
Okay, great, thank you. I think it's important that we reach out to find out what the plans are, and I appreciate you being proactive on it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on item E? If not, we'll move on to item F, which is informational. It's the Lowell Festival Foundation communication. Mr. Manager.
Thank you. I included this in the report because I wanted the city councilors and the people at home and here to know what a wonderful job the City of Lowell employees did during the Lowell Folk Festival. This was a special folks festival. It was the 30th year. They tell me it was the largest crowd that we have ever had in the history of the Folk Festival, but also in light of the terrorist attacks that occurred, especially in Nice, France. We had to take extraordinary measures to ensure that the city was safe and we wouldn't have any problems. And I think people seeing the DPW trucks at the different choke points in the city felt extremely safe, and that's why the crowds were so big. A number of people commented to me on how great our employees were, and I just want everybody to know that I'm very proud of our city employees. They do a wonderful job, and they deserve this type of recognition. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion on this item? Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad that you did put this on the agenda because the 30th edition of the Lowell Folk Festival was actually a great success. And congratulations, you're right, are in order for a job well done by the police, the public, sponsors, festival organizers, and Craig Gates did send a beautiful letter, wanted you to share this letter with all the department heads and the people in their departments. He's the director of the Lowell Festival Foundation, and I want to thank our city workers for a job well done, their tremendous effort and outstanding efficiency that the city employees showed during that time, and I wanted to publicly thank them as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on this item? That concludes the communications from the city manager. The chair will entertain a motion to accept the communications and place them on file. We have a motion by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Moving on, we have several communications. One communication is the resignation of Nancy McGovern from the License Commission. Chair will entertain a motion to accept. We have a motion to accept and place on file by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next is a communication for resignation of Kristen M. Hogan from the License Commission. We've a motion by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Samaras to accept and place on file. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next communication is the appointment from the city manager, the appointment of Martha E. Howe to the License Commission. We have a motion to approve. A motion approved by Councilor Leary, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Councilor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Councilor Leahy. Councilor Leary.
Yes.
Councilor Mercia.
Yes.
Councilor Milonazo.
Yes.
Councilor Rourke.
Yes.
Councilor Samaras.
Yes.
Councilor Belanger.
Yes.
8 yeas.
And I think Attorney Howe is here if she wants to come forward and introduce herself to those who may not know her.
City Manager Murphy, and thank you for the council for your vote of confidence in me. I was 2 years old when my father was elected to the city council, and for every other year for the next 40 years, my family came down to this beautiful building and watched him take his oath of office. We were so proud of him for his public service. So I appreciate and respect all of you for your public service. When I was a young lawyer, I had a jury trial, one of my first jury trials with my father, and we sued a bar in Dracut, not Lowell. And that lawsuit involved an overservice of alcohol of a patron. He drank too much, he got behind the wheel of a car, he drove down the boulevard, crossed the double yellow line, and tragically killed 2 people. In that jury trial, we had co-counsel, and that co-counsel was Kevin Murphy. So at a very young age, in my early time in my legal career, I got to know and respect Kevin Murphy. I also got to know and respect the laws on service of alcohol. So I appreciate this appointment. As a lawyer and a downtown business person, I feel I'm uniquely qualified for this position, and my number one priority will be to uphold the rule of law. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have another communication from the city manager appointing Joseph Donahue to the License Commission. Do we have a motion? We have a motion to approve by Council Leary, seconded by Council Milonazo. Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
8 yeas.
We have another communication from the city manager requesting out-of-state travel for one person from the Division of Planning and Development. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Mercia. Discussion, roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have a vote approving the exemption of Christopher J. Smith from the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268, Section 20. No objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, approving the exemption of Kristen J. Smith from the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 20. We have a motion approved by Council Leary, seconded by Councilor Elliott. Discussion, roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to apply, accept, and expend $870,000 from HUD for homeless assistance services. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, approving the application to apply, accept, and expend funds in the amount of $870,000 from the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for homeless assistance services. We have a motion to approve by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Discussion on the motion, roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next, we have a motion to accept a proposal from Valdia Borber for $156,100 at 799 Gorham Street. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, authorizing the city manager to accept the proposal of Mr. Valdia Borber in the amount of $156,000 and $100 to purchase property located at 799 Gorham Street in Lowell and to execute all documents necessary for the transfer of such property. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Rourke. Discussion, roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
No.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Being just before 7 o'clock, it's almost time to go to the public hearings, but if there's no objection from the body, I'd like to take out of order item 7.1, which is an order dedicating the corner of Mount Pleasant Street and Reservoir Street to William L. Sargent, and naming it William L. Sargent Memorial Square. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Councilor Belanger, seconded by Councilor Mercia. And I think that Mr. Sargent's son is here to say a few words. Is that?
I would just like to thank Mayor Kennedy and the Director of Veteran Services, Eric Lamache, members of the Veteran Council, members of the City Council, for bestowing this honor, this well-deserved honor, on my father. It is just one more reason why the city of Lowell is a special place, and one more reason why Lowell, there's a lot to like about Lowell. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we have a date on this dedication at all? Not yet,
Not yet.
but you will notify this council when
Well,
there's a dedication?
right. We-
All right,
we'll let-
thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
All right, thank you. Now, being at 7 o'clock, we'll go, return to the first page of the agenda for general public hearings. Public hearings, the first public hearing is an ordinance to create one part-time grant-funded program assistant in the Human Services Department. We'll open up the hearing for those who wish to speak in favor. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in favor? Speak in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none? We'll close the hearing on behalf of the proponents and open it up to those who wish to speak in opposition. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in opposition? In opposition? 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 Do you want to speak? Yeah. We'll close the hearing of the opponents and hear from the city manager before we take a motion from the council. Mr. Manager?
Right now, in our Board of Health, we have a grant that we've been able to hire a gentleman who's working with students at Lowell High School, athletes and parents, to make sure that they don't get addicted to prescription drugs when they get injured playing sports and everything. I think it's a great, great program. But this was an opportunity for us to give some support to that individual, as far as filing reports and maintaining information and everything. So this is a part-time support staff member, and it's fully grant funded. So I think it's a great, great program, especially for the student athletes at Lowell High School.
What's the pleasure of the council? Do we have
Move
a
to
motion?
approve.
Approval.
Motion approved by Council Mercia, seconded by Council Rourke. Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
The next public hearing is Comcast requesting to install and maintain 129 feet of PCV communication conduit at 10 Technology Drive. We'll open up the hearing for those who wish to speak in favor. Those who wish to speak in favor, in favor?
This is a project that we are aware of and we are in favor of it. It will allow a local business to have fiber brought in from Comcast.
Thank you. Anybody else who wishes to speak in favor? In favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, close the hearing on behalf of the proponents and open it up to those who wish to speak in opposition. Is there anybody who wishes to speak in opposition? In opposition? 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 Hearing none, we'll close the hearing on behalf of the opponents and open up to the council. Do we have a motion? Or a motion referred to the wire inspector for report and recommendation by Council Milonazo, seconded by Council Samaras. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Returning to the agenda, item 6.4. We have a vote to accept a gift of $200 from the Markley Group to support the Lowell Police Department community programs. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading. And the second reading is authorizing the city manager on behalf of the city of Lowell to accept a gift from the Markley Group of $200 for the use by the city of Lowell, of the Lowell Police Department in support of the Lowell Police Department's community programs. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. Discussion on the motion. Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counselor Leahy. Counselor Leary.
Yes.
Counselor Mercia.
Yes.
Counselor Milonazo.
Yes.
Counselor Rourke.
Yes.
Counselor Samaras.
Yes.
Counselor Belanger.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
Next, we have a vote to accept, apply, accept, and expend $400,000 to complete streets construction funding. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading, authorizing the city manager to apply, accept, and expend funds from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation in the amount of $400,000. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Milonazo. Discussion on the motion. Councilor Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I could do to the manager, Mr. Mayor, just curiosity, the $400,000, where's that going to?
Basically, we came in before this council before because we got a grant to extend that walkway across the South Common from the Gallagher Terminal to South Street. This is an additional $400,000 that we received from the Commonwealth, which now is going to allow us to put in more lighting on that walkway, so it's much safer for people. Plus, we're also going to be able to construct a walkway up Thorndike Street to the intersection of Highland Street. So it's this additional $400,000 is going to allow us to do that walkway much brighter and much safer than we had originally planned.
With this money here, is this eligible to actually to light the park at South Common?
Yes.
'Cause that will be done?
Yes,
Great, thank you.
along the walkway.
Any further discussion? Council Mercia.
I hope that this added lighting doesn't act as a nightlight for all the sleepers that are sleeping in that common, because when I go to work in the morning, they're all laying out there, like they're at the Hotel Chateau de Ville. But anyway, that's just my observation.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy. Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next is a vote authorizing the city manager to execute a temporary license agreement at 68 Jackson Street. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading, go to the second reading. According to this, authorizing the city manager to enter into a temporary license agreement with Wind Development Corporation with principal offices at 6 Faneuil Hall Marketplace, Boston, Massachusetts, for use of the City of Lowell property to wit 68 Jackson Street for the purpose of storing materials and project staging for the current construction project at 71 Jackson Street until August 31st, 2017. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Councilor Elliott, seconded by Councilor Belanger. Discussion on the motion, Councilor Belanger.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, through you to the manager, I know this parcel very well. As you go down Jackson Street from Central, it's on the left. It's gated, it's striped, and, I was a businessman on Jackson Street for 11 years. And, this parcel was always allowed use to private developers. It predates garage construction. And then the mills got refurbished, and they were always allowed to use this. Well, when I go to neighborhood group meetings in the area, the JAMBRA meetings, that is a neighborhood now. This often comes up. So I want to make it, clear to you and my colleagues that the residents are saying, when is this something happen here, it's going to benefit the neighborhood rather than private development. And I sort of agree with them. I know we want to assist private development all we can, but this has been a 15-year favor, quote, that we've been doing to private developers. And I think it's about time we do something that's going to help the neighborhood. Even surface parking, some of the businesses would applaud. Green space or a park. I'm going to vote for this. I think you've already made a commitment, Mr. Manager, and I don't want you to go back on that. But from after that period, I'm going to be very interested in that space opening up, the gates coming down, and some beautification going on in that parcel. So it's been that way this long. I suppose August of 2017 another year is not a long time in the grand scheme of things. However, I will not be supporting any more use to private developers on this lot. Okay, it's a city lot, and it's about time. The neighborhood benefits as a result. So I just want to make that clear, Mr. Manager. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy. Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
8 yeas.
Next is a vote authorizing the city manager to execute a limited access agreement with S&R Corporation. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading and go to the second reading. Authorizing the city manager to execute a limited access agreement between the City of Lowell and S&R Corporation relative to 432 and 644 Aiken Street for the purpose of a construction staging area during the removal and replacement of the VFW Highway Bridge over Beaver Brook in the City of Lowell. Do we have a motion to approve? Motion approved by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Leary. Discussion on the motion, roll call.
Counselor Elliott.
Yes.
Mayor Kennedy.
Yes.
Counsel Leahy. Counsel Leary.
Yes.
Counsel Mercia.
Yes.
Counsel Milonazo.
Yes.
Counsel Rourke.
Yes.
Counsel Samaras.
Yes.
Counsel Belanger.
Yes.
That's 8 yeas.
Moving on to petitions, under claims, we have 4 property claims. Chair would entertain a motion referred to the Law Department for report and recommendation. We have a motion by Councilor Samaras, seconded by Councilor Rourke, to refer to the Law Department for report and recommendation. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next, under miscellaneous, we have John Deffers and Ann Shea request the installation of a handicap parking sign at 70 Methuen Street. Chair would entertain a motion referred to the traffic engineer for report and recommendation.
Yes.
We have a motion to that effect by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Leary. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to amend it to make it a 60-day trial, if I could do that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Mercia would like to amend it to be a 60-day trial. We have a second to the amendment by Councilor Leary. Discussion on the amendment. All in favor, all opposed to the amendment. The full motion as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next is, under miscellaneous, is Ronald Turgeon requests permission to discuss traffic conditions on Spark Street. And I believe is Mr. Turgeon here? If not, the chair would entertain a motion referred to the traffic engineer for report and recommendation by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Samaras. Discussion, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next.
Discussion.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I do know Ronald Turgeon, and he is rather disabled, so I'm not surprised that he isn't here. But he does call me when he has concerns, and it seems like there's a lot of traffic, which you can't stop that, but there's a lot of speeding traffic. And he hears this because he has to sleep downstairs now because he's unable to climb the stairs. So if we could kind of have police in that neighborhood kind of check for speeding on that particular street, Spark Street. He happens to live right at the V, so he's getting it from both sides of his property, and it's quite a stretch. So there is a chance to really speed there, so it's a concern. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, the next item is National Grid Verizon New England requests the installation of a pole and anchor located at 691 Stevens Street. If there's no objection, we'll waive the full first reading. The chair would entertain a motion to refer to a public hearing on August 23rd, 2016 at 7 p.m. We have a motion to that effect by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Councilor Milanazzo. Discussion on the motion. All in favor, all opposed, so voted. Next are city council motions. The first motion of the evening is a motion by Councilor Mercia requesting the city manager of the proper department paint new crosswalks on Middlesex Street between Wilder Street and Walgreens. Second by Councilor Elliott. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That motion more or less does speak for itself. What's happening?
National Grid, yeah, I thought that I needed to speak. Oh, all right, sure. Thank you.
Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That motion does speak for itself, but all along Middlesex Street, from Wilder up to Walgreens, there's many areas where we would need crosswalks. The curb cut is there. We do have Hadley Field there, very important. So if we could, I know that John Cooper in this, sidewalks and striping and stuff, he's going to be very busy, but it's important that that be done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Councilor Rourke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through to the manager. Mr. Manager, this is another part of the city where there's LRTA bus stops as well. So I know we talked about it earlier in the year. You're going to look into how those stops got there, and then the crosswalks that should probably go where the bus stops are. So maybe an update on that too would be great. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is a motion by Councilor Samaras requesting that the city manager have the appropriate department review the availability of handicap access to city parks. Seconded by Councilor Milanazzo. Councilor Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. This motion speaks for itself. We want to assure that all our parks are accessible to handicapped, especially for wheelchair-bound people. That's all.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. Next motion of the evening is also a motion by Councilor Samaras request that the city manager prepare a report regarding a rehab of the JFK Plaza and to permanently display the flags that represent the diversity of the community of Lowell. Seconded by Councilor Rourke. Councilor Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. This motion has 2 points to it. The center of the JFK Plaza, which has a statue dedicated to the memory of Officer Rusas, once had a water fountain in there. And I'd like to know in the future, Mr. Manager, what plans you might have to redo the JFK Plaza. One suggestion would be to make a memorial garden where the statue is, and if you could possibly work with the chief of police and the unions to possibly do that. I think that's just an idea, but that might be something that would be worthwhile and liked by all. The next aspect is that during the Folk Festival, the flags of all the countries that are represented in this community were flown. And I spoke to many people, and they thought how beautiful it was to see their country's flag flying next to the American flag. And one of my former teachers, Dr. Giulio Di Cavallo, spoke to how important it was to him and his family to see their country's flag flying with ours. And he felt that, and many others that were with him, that this would be a wonderful idea to have this permanently placed at the plaza. So, Mr. Manager, I know this could be an expensive proposition with the flags, but if you could look into the possibility of doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In 2002, when I was the mayor, it came to my attention how I could see the pride in everybody's face when we did a flag-raising ceremony. And very first thing I did as the mayor was I had a Ethic Unity Day celebration where we marched from the Memorial Auditorium all the way up to City Hall. We made a day of it in the JFK Plaza. There were 19 flagpoles. We reserved one for the American flag, and we put the flag of every nation up there in the flagpoles, and it looked spectacular. I had asked, and every group performed their dances, like the Irish had the Irish step dances, the Cambodians had the Cambodian dragon dance, and it just went on and on. The Colombians had their beautiful children do the beautiful dances, and it was a day's event, and it was beautiful. So at the start of the Folk Festival, I made a motion similar to that, if we could fly all the flags there and have each representative of every country that had a flag raise their flag. And we did that the very first year that I made that motion to the start of the Folk Festival, and that's where we get, starting at the JFK Plaza with everybody's costume, and we march over to Boarding House Park. Having said that, we've never done that again because the ethnic groups needed their flag with them to display it, and flags are very expensive. But this motion is a great, great motion to display all the flags of all the people that take time to come to City Hall and have a flag-raising ceremony in honor of the independence of their country. I think this is remarkable. As proud as we are of our flag, so are they proud of their ethnicity. And so this motion is remarkable. I don't know who's going to pay for these flags. I know they're expensive. I know that we can't use the ones that we got in the mayor's office in that safe in the cubby holes. They need that for the, but that would be a wonderful undertaking if we could try to do that. The pride that they would have, it would be, to me, like the United Nations in Lowell. And I welcome this motion. I think anything that has to do with all the people that are in this city that are so proud of their country, that are willing to take time to come down here, I think it's a good motion, and I support it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor, Councilor Samaras.
No, I just want to thank Councilor Mercia. I do recall when she had made those motions and had those activities, because some of us, the students from Lowell High School, were involved. And I remember the pride that everybody had, and I think sometimes we forget how important it is to a lot of people. And when we have the flag-raising ceremonies, it seems, every so many Saturdays, we all hear about the pride that everybody has about the community of Lowell by being here in Lowell, by being accepted by the people of Lowell, and the opportunity they have by coming to this great country. And I think this would reaffirm to all of our various community holders that we do care and we do value your presence here. So, Mr. Manager, I know it's not an easy thing to do because we ask you to come up with money for a lot of situations, but I think this is something important to be considered down the road. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is a motion by Council Milonazo and Council Samaras. Request that the City Council go on record to reaffirm our working relationship and partnership with UMass Lowell, which will continue to benefit the economic vitality of the city and its residents, and to request that the city manager do what is necessary to preserve and strengthen this relationship and partnership. Councilor Samaras. Who wants to go first? Councilor Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I understand that there have been some positive movement over the last few days, so thank you, Mr. Manager, for moving this in the right direction. Let me begin by saying that Councilor Samaras and I did not file this motion to tie the hands of the city manager during the negotiations around a proposed agreement with UMass Lowell, which has been suggested in some circles. In fact, I've watched the career of attorney Kevin Murphy over the last 30 years, and I can tell you that we wouldn't be tying his hands as a negotiator. He's a very good negotiator, and I have all the faith as a city councilor that he will represent the city's interests well. It was filed to generate discussions about the importance of the relationship we have with UMass Lowell and how we believe it's been and can continue to be mutually beneficial to both parties. I did think that the document which had been sent to all the city councilors last week was a draft proposal that was under discussion by both parties. It turns out that was not the case. I think what Mayor Kennedy did through the press release was an attempt to keep both parties at the table and to emphasize that the agreement should be negotiated between City Manager Murphy and Chancellor Maloney. Again, I thought that was important to do. And again, speaking simply for myself, I thought the draft agreement was in fact much further along than it turned out to be. There's also some concern in the city, and maybe even amongst members of this council, that the UMass Lowell and the city relationship is one-sided. I disagree with that thought. In my opinion, the city is benefiting greatly from the growth of UMass Lowell, and the economic development spinoff that has happened is really, truly remarkable. The Markley Group, the large housing developments, Cronus relocating back to Lowell, 110 Canal Street, the building of the Howe Bridge, their participation in the NL bridges, the marketing program, the resurgence of the Songa Center, and on. And more importantly, the partnership between the Lowell Public Schools and UMass Lowell is changing young lives for the better. I know tax revenues are important to the city, to each member of the city council, and we don't want to continue to see tax-producing properties taken off the tax rolls. However, when this administration came into office 2 years ago, we supported Manager Murphy's vision to make Lowell a college community, both working with UMass Lowell and Middlesex Community College. I think we're at a point where some would agree with that statement, or continue to agree with that statement, but at what price? There may be a tipping point, but in my opinion, we're not there yet. We need to have confidence in both the city administration through Manager Murphy and UMass Lowell administration through Chancellor Maloney that a balance will be reached. I think we all want the university to continue to grow and prosper, and we should put the incident of the proposed agreement aside and trust the good work of City Manager Murphy and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Samaras.
Thank you. I do echo the same sentiments that Councilor Milonazo stated, that we have an excellent negotiator in City Manager Murphy. I had a concern in the sense that every so often a blip comes on the radar and we can overreact. And I just want to say that, with Manager Murphy's leadership, this is going to be resolved. But my feelings go like this. To follow up on Councilor Milonazo's remarks, as Chair of the Economic Development and Educational Partnership Subcommittee, I can tell you firsthand about the benefits to the City of Lowell and the University of Mass at Lowell, working together, because historically these institutions are indelibly linked together for the benefit of our residents, the people of Lowell. I had a list of some of the benefits, but Councilor Milonazo has covered much of that. However, in any relationship, there can be ups and downs. There can be moments when one party is aggrieved and feel it needs to advocate for its rights, and both entities could feel that way in any given situation. Yet, can anyone argue that the City of Lowell would be better off without the university, or there'd be no university without a very unique host city. The city's diversity, its history, is important. We are a city where the private sector and political structures at all levels have been critical or crucial to the success of the city and the university. Therefore, if we all agree that Lowell achieves through partnerships, then I suggest that you support this motion. It affirms this most important partnership and focuses on the potential strengths instead of short-term disagreements. This motion also delegates to two very competent public officials, City Manager Murphy and Chancellor Maloney, the task of balancing the city's interests and the university's interests and stepping forward towards building a roadmap for future success and progress. We are in a regional, national, and international race to succeed economically and educationally. This is our future, and the purpose of this motion was just to give you the support that we feel that you need to say that this council is behind what you do, because you represent the city very well in all your negotiations, and I just want to see this continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, let me say that my feelings about the university are such that I appreciate all the beautification, the uplifting that the university has given to this city, the fact that the university employs our residents, partners with the city on a number of projects, and acts as a beacon to attract students from all over the world to come to school here is a remarkable thing. But the thorn that stuck in my side was the one relating to residents that will be displaced from Perkins Park. You remember them, the people that came from around many states and chose Lowell, the ones with the disposable income that can support our local venues, restaurants, and be productive residents, the ones whose property will soon be off the tax roll, and the people that we represent will have to pick up the slack on their taxes. So the goal was to have both sides sit down and come up with a plan to make all sides happy while feeling that something good will come out of this in an effort to come to a reasonable and mutual agreement with the university, and one that will benefit the taxpayers in the city. I have the utmost faith in the city manager, of whom I voted to hire as the leader and the person who runs the city of Lowell, and nobody else. I am confident that Manager Murphy is doing all he can to make that happen. Therefore, this motion is asking the manager to do what he is already doing anyway. An agreement will be reached. I firmly believe both sides are talking, and I believe everyone will benefit. At least I hope so. I have faith that that'll happen. I just take exception to the words, whatever is necessary. To me, reminds me of whatever it takes, whatever is necessary. Could mean to fold up and go home, to throw in the towel, to stop negotiating, to concede defeat, and I'm not willing to let the manager do that. I will not circumvent the job of the city manager. I believe that he is on the right track. Perhaps we can extend the lease time before the Perkins residents have to move out and speed up one project, perhaps Sal Lopoli's project. Maybe we can marry this deal together to allow the Perkins residents the opportunity to move there. You see, we can keep good people here in our city. A concern I have is, why does the university not develop the Middlesex training facility in Chelmsford across from the Glenview restaurant to develop more student dormitory units to fit their needs? Then no one will be misplaced. I understand that there is a contract signed between the town of Amherst and UMass Amherst as to what is expected of both parties. If we could obtain that agreement, I don't know if it's in place, but I heard that there was. I heard that this agreement was signed in 2015, and it would expire in perhaps the 2018 or 19th, but that's what I'm understanding. That would give us an idea as to what is being expected there, and see if we can get some ideas here. In closing, let me just say that my obligation is to this city, but especially the people that reside here. I work for the people here. I work for the taxpayer. I don't work for the university. These Lowellians include here in the city, very wealthy people, people who have jobs, as well as people who are on Social Security, people on a fixed income, people who are unemployed and receiving unemployment compensation, and people who are downright poor and are struggling to get by. Our job is to protect those that are struggling. Therefore, it is incumbent upon the city manager to go after every means possible to get the best bang for the city, which benefits the community, and that includes all people, not just some people, but all people, not just those that can afford it. And that's why I'm sitting here, and that's why I speak up, because I saw something that irked me, and I'm not going to sit here and let it just go. I know there's a good partnership, but I know that we need more negotiations to fight for the people that are struggling. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Council Milonazo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with most of what Councilor Mercia said, and let me just say that I was informed today that some of the residents over at Perkins Park have actually been made eligible to be first-time home buyers, and they're actually working with the Lowell Development Financial Corporation. Again, it's a handful right now, but they're buying homes in Lowell. They'll be taxpayers in Lowell. They're getting assistance through the LDFC. So we're hoping that that will actually continue. And some of what Councilor Mercia said relative to other sites in the city that they could possibly be relocated to is a good suggestion as well. But again, I just wanted it to be known that they're a handful, at least right now, are buying homes in Lowell and staying in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. I've been a member of the City Council when it comes to UMass Lowell that supported. I can't remember not supporting any initiative that has been brought before us to the university, whether it was any of the land takings or the arena. I certainly have been a cheerleader and support and understand and have seen the benefit the university has made the Unit Conference Center. And I'm not sure at any point where we are not still in partnership with the university. And I think the manager has done and continues to do an admirable job on protecting the interests of the city. And part of the interest of the city is the university. So when I made the motion to have a discussion about the agreement, I think the manager has, has continued and will continue to work with the council and the university. He just wanted to keep the council updated, and we want to keep the people updated. So I have full confidence. I believe the relationship is not fractured by any stretch, and I don't think there was any attempt at any level to upset that relationship, and things will continue to move forward. Seems like this has taken on a life of itself where there's a lot of discussion. The Perkins issue clearly had an effect on the city finances. That's what our concern is, along with other nonprofits, and we're taking measures into our hands to protect the people that do pay the bills. And I think there is this council, we do appreciate the university, and we'll continue to. So I don't want to go on anymore. I just wanted to, I've been certainly vocal. I brought the motion in on Perkins and think we need to continue to work together, and let's let the manager do his job and bring that agreement to closure. So thank you, Mr. Manager, and thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to say a few words.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Councilor Leary.
Just even more brief. I think we all appreciate the university's success. I think their success, it really leads to what hopefully our economic success will be. I think we're really intertwined. Our failure will be their failure. And I think it's imperative that you do a fair deal that's good for the city, Mr. Manager, and I have utmost confidence that you'll be able to do that and are in the process of doing that. And you have my full support. I think, unfortunately, sometimes when you have challenges that come up, you need to face them head on, and I think we are. I hope some of the vernacular that's gone back and forth is just sometimes you're in a relationship, a business relationship, you have those challenges. And I think we'll overcome that, and I think we'll move on. And I think both the city and the university will prosper because they are, and we are, a good partnership together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Blanchard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Some great points by my colleagues, for sure. This is a very, very passionate issue. But what's going on the last 6-7 days, the rhetoric has to stop, okay? And it's this council's job to de-escalate the situation. I know myself and my colleagues and the manager and administration are greatly, greatly appreciative of the university's presence and its achievements, what it's done for the city. Just imagine where the city of Lowell would be today without the university's presence. Not in a good place, not in a good place, and that is a fact, okay? But it's not only that, it's where we're going, how they're growing, and how it's going to be beneficial to the city of Lowell. Now, we just saw the medium income, we saw right up by Grant in the Lowell Sun just a few weeks ago. That needs work, and the key to that is UMass Lowell. It's already attracted more than a handful of companies coming to the city because of our workforce, okay? And they're going to be the key to our future. So I have the utmost confidence that everything is going to be right. Mr. Manager, this is why we pay you the big bucks to go in there, hash out a deal, and get it done, okay? And that's what we want you to do. We have the utmost confidence in you. I mean, like Councilor Mercy said, whatever is necessary, I'm not going to, when I read it, raised an eyebrow, to say the least. But, Mr. Manager, we have two professionals at the table, yourself, Chancellor Maloney. Both have great pride in the city and the university, and I have no doubt an fair and equitable agreement will be reached. I have the utmost confidence. So thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Samaras.
Thank you, Mayor Kennedy. Just for clarification, sometimes when you make a motion, I mean, sometimes everybody doesn't agree how the motion is stated, but when we said necessary to preserve, what we meant was not to capitulate, but for the city manager to have the backing of the city council to do what he has to do to garner the best type of deal he can for the city of Lowell. Also, the purpose of the motion was, in fact, this has been a much discussed issue throughout the city. And the purpose of this motion also is to help de-escalate what is going on. For us as a city council, not to tell the city manager how to do his job, because he most certainly knows how to do. And he's one of the best negotiators in this area that I know. So I'm not concerned about that. He will always be doing what we want him to do, look out for the best interests of the citizens of Lowell. But at the same time, we have a partner in the university. And I just wanted clarification to be able, for all of us to be able to say, we appreciate the university. There comes a blip in the road every so often, but it's how we handle that. And I have full faith in the city manager and Chancellor Maloney for settling this in a positive way, where it's a win-win situation for everyone. And sometimes when a situation like this occurs, we can say, this was terrible or what have you, but I rather say that I think we all learn from situations like this. And I think in regard to housing and issues such as Perkins Place, it's going to give us, as a city council, more ideas on how we can make Lowell a better place. Because the one thing we found out from the people of Perkins, what I do recall when the people from Perkins came here, if we were to take the videotapes of everybody speaking, it was the perfect PR for the city of Lowell, because they spoke about why they loved being in Lowell. And so, I mean, that did happen. It's not within our control, but I think now we've given the tools. When I say we've given the tools, city manager has the tools, but we're stating to the city manager that he has our support to negotiate in the best interests of the city. And I think we've learned from this situation, and I think from this will result a much better partnership and a stronger partnership. And that's what I'm looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Blanchard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Very brief statement. Thank you. I want to thank Councilor Samaras for that clarification. I am far more at ease after his explanation. I think I know sincerely what he means, and we all have the same goal. And I share the same goal as Councilors Milanazzo and Samaras. But the point I'd like to make is that, you know, the suburbs right over the city borders have already been in contact, reached out to the university saying, if they don't want you, we'll take you. And with the university reaching some pivotal growth, I will say, in the next couple of years with incubator space for starter-up company, which is going to be vital. Okay, that's not going to happen. They're going to stay right here in the city of Lowell and create those jobs. Are going to be right here in the city of Lowell, and the manager's going to see to it. So, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, all opposed, so voted. The next motion of the evening is a motion by Council Leary and Council Leahy. Request that the city manager have the DPW paint the crosswalks prior to the beginning of the school year. Council Leahy is not in attendance this evening, so the chair will second the motion. Council Leahy.
Thank you. We're tripling down on Councilor Mercer's motion. She said it eloquently, really, with, some of these, the cuts don't have painting, especially this one we just did on Stevens Street, but that's kind of citywide and primarily as a priority around the schools as well, Mr. Manager. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. The last motion of the evening is a motion by Council Leary and Council Leahy. Request that the city manager provide outstanding work order tickets for the Lowell Public Schools and to have the DPW meet with the schools in order to coordinate timelines to complete outstanding tickets prior to the school year. Council Leahy's not in attendance, so the chair will second the motion. Council Leary.
Thank you again. Just to basically meet with the school department, make sure all the work orders are updated prior to the school year. Pretty self-explanatory. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor, all opposed, so voted. That concludes the agenda. We now come to announcements. Are there any announcements? Council Milonazo, then Council Mercy. Council Milonazo.
It's actually not an announcement, so I'd appreciate the indulgence of my colleagues. What I'd like to do is just do a public thank you to Representative Golden. I read in today's paper that Governor Baker signed the energy bill, and as chairman of the Joint Committee on Telecommunications, Utilities, and Energy, I know that Representative Golden really did shepherd that bill through the State House. So, again, talking about renewable energies and the good work that he did, I just wanted to recognize and thank him publicly. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Council Mercia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would also like to take this opportunity, although a bit late, to congratulate the American Legion Lowell Post 87 baseball team and head coach Bill Martell for their tremendous efforts in the state championship tournament. Although the team fell just shy of the state title, their efforts and sportsmanship was second to none, and we all should be very proud of their performance. And secondly, I want to congratulate and give thanks to the Lowell Citywide Neighborhood Council for that wonderful donation of stuffed animals, bats, and wiffle balls, and toys to show support for the police in the wake of the police shooting. So I think that was quite a generous donation. Thank you.
Any additional announcements? If not, Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. We have a motion to adjourn by Council Rourke, seconded by Council Samaras. All in favor, all opposed? City Council stands adjourned.